Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another session of estimation, costing, and specifications. So, in the previous class, we have taken up different types of, definitions of estimate. What are the different definitions we have, and what do we understand from estimate and specifications? All those definitions we have seen in the previous class. Now we'll see what is the need of estimate. Why do we do estimate? So in general, if you just simply say what is the need of estimate, why do we need estimate? Suppose for example, a small house is to be constructed. So there is one client or owner who wanted to construct a house. Okay, this owner needs to construct a house. A simple example I am giving on this point, especially this point, so that everyone could be able to understand what is the meaning of this entire point. So suppose one owner need to construct a house. So before constructing a house, he will first identify what will be the cost of the project. Okay, once he knows the cost of the project, so this much amount to be in x rupees or x dollars need to be invested to construct or to execute this particular project. So that is what is needed, this cost, to understand the cost and its feasibility. With feasibility, what do you mean by feasibility? So whether the resources are easily available or not. Now depending upon the feasibility, there are two categories. One is financial resources, one is financial resources, another one is materials. Okay, these are the two things on small scale. I'm talking about the small scale. The need of estimate is the owner, first he wanted to construct a house. So for that construction of that particular house, he need to know what is the cost. Then after that, what is the feasibility? What do you mean by feasibility? Cost is known. Suppose X dollars need to be invested. So now where do he get these financial resources, and where do we get materials? All these things need to be understood. All these things need to be clarified. That is why we do estimate. So if you read out this point, you will understand it helps to work out the approximate cost of the project in order to decide its feasibility with respect to cost and to ensure financial resources if proposal is approved. This is if proposal. Okay, if the proposal is approved. Okay. So another next point says about this one. First is about financial resources. Another point says that requirements of controlled materials such as cement, steel can be estimated for making applications to the control authorities. So such as cement and steel, these are the two basic materials which we use in our construction industry, and both the things, these two materials are not friendly with the nature. They are not friendly with the nature. If you keep the cement outside for more than 1 month, if the weather is winter or rainy season, you better understand what will happen if the cement interacts with water. So ultimately the cement will be lost totally if it is not used before 1 month. Apart from that, when it is prone to water, when it is uh, when it is mixed with water, or it is kept in outside sunlight or water, then the cement will get damaged. So the same thing will happen to steel also. Once you keep the steel in environment or outside, it may lead to corrosion. Okay, the very important thing and which we neglect many times is this corrosion. We do not focus on corrosion. What will happen to the steel? If the steel gets corroded, if your steel gets corroded, then the strength of the building may get reduced, isn't it? So controlled materials, these are nothing but your materials which we have to control totally. If you do not control the supply of these materials, if you order the cement and steel in bulk quantity, then it may lead to damage, it may lead to loss, it may lead to different types of consequences to the execution of the project. So that is why controlled environment is to be needed, and controlled materials need to be calculated. Okay, so this is about these 2 points. Next is, it is used for framing the tender for the works and to check the contractor's work during and after its execution for the purpose of making payments to the contractor. Now I will explain you this one. This is very important point actually. the need, see what we do, we prepare schedule of payments. We prepare, in every estimate, we prepare schedule of payments. So I will show you here. So here, we'll be having one serial number. Okay, then we have description of work, description of work, then amount, then we'll be having one more column here, that is remarks. Suppose for example this is said to be your schedule of payments. This chart is nothing but your schedule of payments. Now what do you mean by schedule of payments? See, to check the contractor's work, why do we do estimate? To check the contractor's work also, and estimate will be having this schedule of payments also. So in case of schedule of payments, we'll mention here, first is we'll give advance to the contractor. Okay, we'll give advance. After that, second is, suppose for example we are going for any residential building or commercial building, we'll mention here, after completion of footings, after completion of footings. So advance amount, suppose for example advance amount is 50k, 50,000. Then he will receive the amount and he will sign here, okay, whatever may be. Then after completion of footing, suppose for example the amount is to be given to the contractor is 2 lakhs rupees, 2 lakhs rupees. So after completion of footings, he will receive this amount and he will sign here, XYZ. Then after completion of columns, like that, similarly columns, we'll write here columns. After completion of columns, suppose here it is mentioned again 2 lakhs, okay, 2 lakhs. Then he will receive this one. So once we prepare estimate, we will get to know what are the things, what are the works have been carried out and how much amount has been paid to the contractor. So sometimes what happens during the execution of the project, suppose this particular contractor expired because of natural problem or any health issues. If he could not able to, if he dies or he expired, or sometimes he may be affected with different types of health issues. So because of that, he could not able to take over the project, remaining project. So to understand or to calculate how much amount has been paid to the contractor and how much amount has to be paid if we hire another contractor, all these things will be mentioned in the schedule of payments. So that is why it is mentioned here that it is used for framing tenders for the works and check contractor's work during and after execution for the purpose of making payments to the contractor. So the payment will be paid to the contractor by the engineer and he will be signing here, the contractor will be signing here, and even the engineer will be signing over here that I have paid this much amount of money to the contractor. Okay, so this is what is actually, this will help us to understand how much amount has been paid and how much amount is remaining, right? So for that, we need to do these type of, schedule of payments, need for estimate and all. Now coming to the fourth point, we have from quantities of different items. Now coming, this is the thing, this is about the contractor, right? What contractor what is the amount to be paid to the contractor? Okay. Now if we go for the material point of view or quantities point of view, we need to prepare another chart. We will be seeing in the same presentation how to calculate those quantities or different quantities, right? We will be having different types of materials we will be using in our construction, right? I'm not talking about only the materials, even the works. That is, first we do excavation. Okay, so if we are doing excavation, so how much amount of how much cubic meter of soil to be removed from the earth, okay, from the land, and how much excavation need to be done, that has to be calculated in cubic meter, isn't it? Then we'll be having PCC bed, so many different things we'll be having during the construction of the work. So that materials and that quantities should be added and should be calculated in a separate charge separately. So those things will help us in proper estimating and proper giving the proper budgeting of the project. Okay, so this is what mentioned here. From the quantities of different items of work calculated in detailed estimation, resources are allocated to different activities of the project, and ultimately durations and whole planning and scheduling of the project is carried out. As I told you before, suppose if we have a very big project going on, so we'll be providing supervisors for different departments. We'll be providing supervisors for different departments. I'll write here supervisors. So these are supervisors, and here we'll be having different departments. So different departments is nothing but we'll be having excavation department. We'll be having material handling department, material handling department. Then we'll be having one department which will be handling the labor. Another department will be electricity department, isn't it? Then we'll be having sanitation department. So then we'll be having one more, that is transportation. Transportation of labor, transportation of material, all these things need to be done. We are talking about the big contracts, big projects. So excavation, one separate supervisor will be allocated for the work of excavation. Okay, one separate supervisor will be allocated for material handling, and one separate supervisor will be allocated for labor safety, labor handling and labor shifting and all, and another one will be the electricity department. So we'll be having different aspects and different sections for to handle the situations. Okay, one person cannot handle the entire work, so to overcome that we provide different supervisors for different departments, so that there will be proper communication and proper disciplined work will be executed if we have proper supervisors in each department. Suppose for example I need to shift labor from one place to another place, so I can easily contact these two departments, that is the labor department and transportation department. So these two departments will take over the shifting of labor. Similarly, I want to shift the materials from one place to another place. So I can talk to the material department supervisor along with the transportation department supervisor. Similarly, I want to get work done from electricity work, any wiring work or any machinery work need to be done. So that has to be one can directly contact this supervisor, this separate supervisor, that I need to be I need to complete certain amount of electrical work on so and so place. So what the supervisor will do directly, he will the engineer or the main person will contact the supervisor directly. Instead of talking to the labor, they will be contacting the supervisor. So this is what the fourth point says: calculate in detailed estimation. Detailed estimation will be getting somewhere here like this. It's a detailed estimation. Along with that, we will be having different divisions. So these divisions we can allocate different persons to handle their own activities for smooth execution of the project. Okay. Now, site conditions affecting the overall cost. We know it is not same everywhere. Okay. Once you are going for any big project, so the conditions of site will change, will vary at different places. Suppose, for example, you are constructing a road over here. Okay, you are constructing a road from Hyderabad to Mumbai. So if you are constructing a road here till Hyderabad, you will not face any kind of difficulties. Okay, the conditions will be familiar, labor will be familiar. Once you cross the border of Hyderabad and once you reach the border of Maharashtra, suppose you are constructing a road from Hyderabad to Mumbai. Suppose let us take an example of that one. Okay. So once you are constructing this much amount of road, okay, and once you are in Hyderabad region, you will not face any kind of difficulties if the workers and laborers are from Hyderabad. Now once you cross the boundary of Maharashtra, it may lead to different aspects. However, we'll be having different types of soils will be affecting. So I will write here one by one. Soil will be different, isn't it? Then along with that, we'll be having labor will be different. Okay, shifting of materials, material shifting, material shifting need to be done very carefully. Since we are moving from one place to another place, see here, see the point, each type of work requires different method of construction. Construction may be of ordinary house or office, or it may also be a dam, tunnel, multi-story building, airport or bridge or road already in operation. So each of these works requires totally different construction techniques, types of machinery and formwork. So the same thing I wanted to explain here. Since we are constructing a road here, the soils will be different, labor will be different, material shifting will cost you more. Along with that, here we have mentioned here, that is, you have to provide a separate road for the regular traffic, isn't it? Suppose, or it may also be a dam here. Suppose, for example, you are constructing a road here. To move the traffic, ongoing traffic safely, you need to construct another temporary route for the moving traffic so that you can work at this particular point. So to provide this roadway, you need to invest more, isn't it? You need to provide labor here also, you need to provide material here also, and many things you have to do. You have to construct a temporary roadway for the construction of these roadways, isn't it? So these are the affecting works or on the overall cost. Okay, and along with that, we'll be using different types of construction techniques and different types of machinery we'll be using for our construction work, and even the form work. Again, form work, we have different types of form works. Again, we have wooden, we have steel, even we have aluminium. Okay, we have I then we have um, MS, MS Steel Formworks, MS Steel Formworks. So all these things will change for different types of projects, thereby resulting the cost overall cost of the project. Then again, if you see the second point, quality of labor and labor output varies in different localities. As I have told you here, once you are in Hyderabad, you will have no difficulty. The labor will be familiar with you. And once you reach the border of Maharashtra, or if you reach the different state, the labor will get different. Labor services will get different. Labor, charges will get different. So many things will happen once you are constructing a big roadway, connection or network. So along with that, we'll be having weather conditions greatly affected. So during rainy season, the cost may lead to increase, because the labor charges and material shifting charges will get increased, thereby resulting in the overall cost of the project. Okay. So another thing is ground conditions vary, change the method of construction. As I told you, soils will be different everywhere. It is not necessary that the soil which is present in Hyderabad will be same in the state which is next to Hyderabad. That is, either it may be Maharashtra or any other state. The soils will vary. Then for example, excavation may be dry, wet, hard, soft, shallow, deep, require different efforts. So once you find a rock, a sheet rock, once there is a sheet rock, once you find sheet rock, a minute. Once you find a sheet rock in the soil, then you need to provide compressors to break that soil. Okay, you have a sheet rock over here like this, a very big sheet rock. Here your road is passing, then suppose for example you need to cut this one, so you need to apply different efforts, different machinery, and even you have to expend more to cut down this rock. Okay, so this is what is mentioned over here. It needs different types of efforts, different types of techniques to stabilize the work. And along with that, the work may be in open ground such as field, or it may be in congested areas such as near to the public road, necessitating extensive watching, lighting and controlling efforts, etc. So we can take the best example for this one will be metro rail. The construction of metro rail is happening here in Hyderabad also. So if you see here, we have metro rail. You can see we have congested roads, we have roads, we have traffic moving from one place to another place, and the works has to be done in a very fast manner, isn't it? They need to construct the entire bridge in a specific time period. So to overcome that, or to execute the work in a fast fashion, they need proper channeling, proper channeling of networks. They need to provide separate roadways for them. Then along with that, if the work could not be able to carry it out during the daytime, then it may lead to night works. Then if you are going for any night work, then you need to provide again extensive watching, lighting and controlling efforts need to be done. So the best example you can take down is the metro rail. Okay. Then the next condition will be the source of availability of sufficient supply of materials of good quality is also a factor. So this is very common and very important, that even though you will be getting materials everywhere, but the quality of the material will vary. Okay, if you are constructing a very big bridge or a road from Hyderabad to Mumbai, then again the materials which you will get in Hyderabad are of different quality. Thereby, when compared to the materials which you will be getting from the materials from different state. Okay, so and it is a very important factor of good quality material is a very big factor. Good quality is also a very big factor actually. If the quality is not good, then it may lead to again overall, it may lead to increase in the cost once you shift the materials from one place to another place. Then again, the availability of construction material also affects the method of construction. Access to the site must be reasonable. If the access is poor, temporary roads may be constructed. Then again, if the access is not proper, then you need to construct another, temporary roads to reach that particular site. So thereby again, it may lead to increase in the overall cost of the project. Okay. So now we'll move towards the good and essential qualities which should be there in the estimator. As I told you, who is estimator? The one who estimates the entire, project is known as estimator. In the preparation of an estimate, in preparing an estimate, the estimator must have good knowledge regarding the important rules of quantity surveying. Okay. Quantity surveying is very important word and term which we use in our construction industry, and even we have a separate, category, separate group of members will be appointed, will be appointed for calculation of quantities and all. So estimator should have which knowledge? A good knowledge or thorough knowledge. Should have thorough knowledge of complete execution. He must be thoroughly understand. He must thoroughly understand the drawings of the structure for which he is going to prepare an estimate. Okay, this is one point. Very important point. He must also be clearly informed about the specifications showing the nature. As I told you before also, specifications are very important. Specifications need to be cleared very clearly so that it could not lead to any difficulties or problems between the client and contractor. And classes of works and materials to be used, because the rates which various types of works can be executed depending upon its specifications. So